of blood, sweat and tears. I see the collective energy and enthusiasm of a huge team of people. I see a whole history, in fact. I see a saga. I see modern mythology in the making. The Kelpies sit on foundation slabs at 1,200 tonnes each. They go down deeper than they are high. How they translated from those first little sketches I did 10 years ago now, I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of the effort that everybody put in. I always research the social history of the area, the industries, the people, the past and the future. It's never for me just a case of dreaming something up, making it the studio, plonking it down and walking away. The Kelpies had to work in that flat lands, the floodplain of the Carron and the Forth, big sky country. When you walk to the site along the canal, it needed an imposing and large structure. One of those wonderful serendipitous parts of the story was to find out that at one point the biggest horse in the world lived in Falkirk. I see one or two wee things that might tweak if I had another chance, but that's life. I'm very much a son of Glasgow. I'm very proud of that history of the city. I can't put my finger on what it is. I just love it. I love the atmosphere. There's something about Scotland that just drags you back. It's where I belong. It's a real pleasure to be here this evening. About 4, maybe 5 years ago, on one of Hannah and I, our first visits to Philadelphia, a friend of ours is a member of the Union League Club, and she very kindly booked us rooms here for a week, and we stayed in this fantastic building. And if you'd said to me then, 4, maybe 5 years ago, that one day in the future I'd be standing in front of you folks in these incredible surroundings, delivering a little speech, I just would not have believed it. It's really incredible, and thank you ever so much, all of you, for inviting me along this evening to speak here. So as you can gather, I am Andy Scott. I'm the sculptor. I'm responsible for the Kelpies. I have to say they were a huge team effort involving hundreds of people over the course of 8.5 years in their creation, and they've become a huge success. I'm going to have to keep looking around because I'm not sure how this works, so bear with me. But as you've just seen from the video, without them, without those ponies there in Ryan Park, I wouldn't be here now working in Philly. So it was a real pivotal moment for us, for the two of us, and for our story here in Philly. I'm choosing my words very carefully for you, and obviously the Glasgow accent, I'm trying to tame it down for you folks this evening. When the Kelpies were in Bryant Park, they asked me if I would do a public presentation in the park. So I stood there and people gathered around in chairs, and it was all very, it was all very formal, and I was announced and I gave a little presentation, and I explained that the Kelpies were in a park in Falkirk in Scotland, and that the park had all these walkways, and I used the word cycle paths, and I could see people in the audience looking at me like, really peculiar, and I'm thinking, that's a bit strange. And it wasn't until afterwards that I realised, one of my friends told me, when I said cycle paths, meaning cycling paths, they have cycle paths, as in Bates Motel cycle paths. so a lot of things can be lost in translation. So bear with me while I speak very, very carefully. So anyway, the maquettes, these little scale models, which are about 14 feet tall, still tour around Scotland. Unfortunately, they've not been back to the States. I'm hopeful we might get them back one of these days. Who knows what the future holds. The sculptures themselves, as I said earlier, went on to become huge, iconic landmarks, and really have become a major statement for the country. One of the highlights of that process over the last few years is when they were officially inaugurated by the Queen. Hannah and I were invited along, we thought, to shake hands with the Queen and take our turn and all the rest of it. Little did we realise that our clients in Scottish Canals and Falkirk Council actually meant that we were going to speak to the Queen, and we had half an hour with her. Now, as I'm sure you know, the Queen is a very knowledgeable equestrian expert herself, and so she showed a very, very keen interest in the sculptures. It was a fantastic day. She was very knowledgeable.
I'd met her a few times before, but I don't want to show off. But anyway, on this occasion, actually it was quite cool because the Queen actually said, she actually told us, "Oh, it's you again." I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's me." So anyway, me and the Queen were chatting away, and as we showed her around the sculptures, we showed her inside the sculptures. We had a lovely occasion. It was very, very nice, a lovely chat. Prince Philip was there too. It was a great day. For once in Scotland in the summertime, it was a clear blue sky, and away in the distance, as we stood outside the Kelpies, we could see two little aeroplanes, two little propeller planes coming closer and closer. And I remembered that somebody from Falkirk, from the canals, had said to me, we might have some aerial acrobatics. And I'd kind of forgotten all about it, thinking the weather was going to be poor, but it turned out it was a glorious day. So they had lined up these planes, the planes start flying towards us. I'm standing with the Queen beside these sculptures. The two planes fly towards us, and the Queen turns to me and says, "I say, what are these fellows doing?" And I don't know, ma'am, I don't know what's going on, what is happening. The planes flew over the Kelpies by about 25-30 feet, and they went away down to the east towards Edinburgh. They flew up into the sky, and when they got to a certain height, they turned on smoke, and they arced away from each other, and they made a perfect love heart in the sky. And that's me with the Queen, with the Kelpies, and a clear blue summer's day, and that's the moment you think, my job is done. It really was a very, very special moment. Matched by this special moment. And the reason I show this image, ladies and gentlemen, is because while it's all very good to talk amongst adults and grown-ups about art and placemaking and icons and nations, these things have now become part of the landscape of Scotland for young people. In fact, there are children there who've always known the Kelpies to be there. And that's an incredibly humbling thing to think that you've gone from making a little sketch to making something that children know as part of the nation. These two little girls have no idea who they are. Those pictures turned up on Facebook of these little girls dressed up as the Kelpies. The drawing beside them, I don't even know who made them, but those drawings are one of, I don't know, must be hundreds if not thousands that Hannah and I had sent to us through the post from school kids all around Scotland, talking about the Kelpies and how proud they are of these landmarks in the country. I've been on the school's radio network in Scotland talking about them, and even today we get inquiries from school students and university students to ask various questions about them, not only in art, but to do with engineering, to do with geography, to do with history, to do with the mythology of Scotland. All of those things tie together in those sculptures. So those little images, I might say, are probably more valuable than the one with the Queen, because this is the future. As I say, it's a very, very humbling thing to have been part of that process. It's not all Kelpies. We've put together a couple of images here just to show you some of the other projects I do. That's the way I usually dress. I'm not always so smartly presented. This particular project is in Aberdeen in Scotland, in the north. There you go, Aberdeen on the Dons. Actually, I think you held Rangers to a draw the other night, so I'm not going to, I'll speak to you later on.
we drew your Rangers.
I know, exactly, nothing but trouble. Anyway, this one's in Aberdeen. The reason it's the leopard appears on the heraldic coat of arms of the city of Aberdeen. And there it is, it weighs 2.5 tons, it's 50 feet high, it balances perfectly in an atrium inside a new hotel and office development in Aberdeen. This one here is a project I made. This is the first sculpture I made in Philadelphia. This one actually went down to Mexico, of all places, and is now in the property of a very wealthy individual down there in Mexico. This one here is in Glasgow. It was actually cast here in Philly. I made it in Philadelphia. We cast it in bronze, sent it back to Scotland, and it's a memorial to Charles Rennie Mackintosh, the very famous Scottish architect, and it's marked the anniversary of his death last year. It was 100 years since he had died, hence the bronze sculpture back in Glasgow. And this is the most recent piece that I did. This one here is in Dunbar in Scotland. It too was made in Philadelphia, cut into pieces, sent back to Scotland, reassembled on site, as you can see, being craned into position. And it actually commemorates John Muir, the famous environmentalist who was a native of Dunbar. Back home in Scotland he's not so well known, but of course here in the States he's very, very renowned. But it was nice to do a piece that kind of somehow tied together our lives here in the States with my homeland in Scotland, and I'm pleased to say that was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's gone down extremely well in the town of Dunbar. So that's just a few little images of various sculptures that I've done over the years. The focus of the evening obviously is the Kelpies and the role that they've played in propelling Scotland in the 21st century, and my own little role in their creation. It's an incredibly humbling thing, as I said before, to go from doing simple sketches to seeing something that involves hundreds of people, 300 tons of steel, 1,200 tons of concrete. I could go on and on. But these images show you just how they've been adopted. The image on this, to the left, as you look at it, with the Chinese script, the project manager of the Kelpies then transferred on to do a project in Shanghai in China, and she saw that poster on the railway network. We knew nothing about it. She sent us back the image, and it was an incredible moment to see that those sculptures have actually ended up being used around the world to advertise an entire nation. A very, very humbling experience. Even, in fact, now that I think about it, just today, yesterday I think we found out they're part of a new Visit Scotland campaign where they're going to be using them in the various railway stations and airports around the UK. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there is a very brief summary of my 30 years making sculptures. Of course, the focus is the Kelpies. I can't thank you enough for your time this evening. My wife and Hanneke and I will be here all evening if you've got any questions you want to ask us about our work. We're here in Philly. I can't thank you enough for your hospitality. Thank you, Ben, all the organisers. It's been a wonderful evening. I've never seen so much fun with kilts since Scotland beat France 1-0 at Hampden Park. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
You're part of a very long legacy of great artists. Tate McKenzie, our own Terry Jones here. They have all uplifted us and motivated us in our charitable work. So, as I welcome you as a gentleman of St. Andrews and of Philadelphia, you are now part of our fellowship. Let me give you this speaker's ribbon. May you wear it and remember us well. Gentlemen, hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Thank you, Andy. Now we'll see. You may come back again.
You will? Will ye nay come back again? Will ye nay come back again? Better loved ye can ye